Hey everybody, it's Maureen. I am giving you an update on the Dastardly Doll Project. As you can see, we have really progressed. Besides the painting of the hands and feet, and then a few months back I had made the underlayers and the dress and the English fitted jacket or English fitted gown. Now we're finally able to see the beginning layers of how it's all coming together. So here is Dorothy. Now Dorothy is made primarily of wood, and of course lots of cloth. So I'm going to kind of show you underneath here, but we have a farthingale and shoes and stockings. That is her shift right there, and then those pieces hanging down, that's actually her garters in that case. So we have those layers, and then there's also a bum roll, which is creating this wonderful shape and holding out the skirts. And a while ago I had created these ruffs, and way before this project actually came into existence, and they are pretty much the right size for the half scale, so that actually worked out well. They're made of modern lace itself, but because of the way it is folded and pleated, they really give that texture of the ruffs that you saw from the time frame. I can definitely make the linen regular ones as well eventually, but these were a good example of what the silhouette would look like. So as you can tell, she's a little wrinkled, but I did actually manage to purchase a fabric steamer, so we've been able to get some of the wrinkling out to a certain extent. Right now I'm working on the jacket. If you saw my pictures from Instagram, I actually had ribbon closures on the sleeves of this gown here, but also on the front of the English fitted gown. I actually cut all of those off, and I'm going to keep them for a different project because it seems too busy. And what I'm also trying to figure out right here is if I wanted to add layers of trim on the bodice and the front of the skirt on this, or leave it as is. So I have some decision making in that situation as well. The roses are from a hairband that I had for myself. It's just kind of to give you a sense of decoration. But all sorts of detail. Everything is hand sewn in this case. So I mean, all the handworking detail, it is all there. The outer dress fits very, very snugly, or this dress that you see right here, this kirtle. The English fitted gown ended up being a bit loose, and I'm still figuring out maybe other fitting options, possibly some darts. We'll see if need be. But I was able to cut the length off of it, and it made a major difference in how I was able to go from there. But I added eyelashes as well, just to give a little level of difference as well. But that's where we are on the Dastardly Doll Project. And I'm going to show you what I'm working on with the English fitted gown that's part of this project as well. Hi everyone, it's Maureen. I'm back, and I have the fitted jacket actually right in front of me here. As I mentioned, I took the lace closures off the front as far as tying it together. And what I added was lace itself. So I added the cuffs, which needed to be added on to look close to the image. And then I added this wonderful lace. Now, this is not handmade lace, but it is cotton, so it's like a cotton polyester blend. And it is very reminiscent of the Piccadilly lace that was very common in Elizabethan time frame. So when I saw this, I said, oh, I can use that for dolls. And dolls that are 10, 12 inches tall, or in this case, a half scale doll. Let's see if I can hold it up. So there's the inside lining. This is the bodice and the upper collar, and there's one of the sleeves, and there's another of the sleeves. I did not add lace to the bottom hem because it wouldn't make a lot of sense. You want to show the lace on the edges, but you don't want it to be dragging on the ground because it would just get dirty and would not stay nice. So after I get this all sewed down, I am going to give it a little bit of a press just to kind of steam it in. Because it's up against the red, I'm stitching it in with red thread. But doing it by hand and very, very tightly, so it ends up appearing very uniform. So the cuffs are all sewn in. It's just going up and around the bodice and down the other side at this point, and I have one hook and eye down at the bottom. Because when this is worn and when it's ironed, this can stand up and then be folded over. That's why pressing it's so very important. The way I'm sewing it down, it allows it to move either direction, which is important because lace does provide a certain amount of movement within a costume as well. So I am going to just, there we go, let you kind of watch my stitching. So I have this pinned into place right now. Sewing with this, with any thread, it does kind of try to catch on to the lace. So you do have to be careful and work slowly. But it's nice to be so very far along on this project. I was a little worried that it was going to take several more months for this to come along. I do still have more work yet to be done, specifically from the image of Elizabeth Layton, the Lady of Willoughby. There is a very tall hat with red and white plumes, and I do have those supplies, which I can show you here. So I have a wonderful cotton black velvet. I also have some felt, which I am going to stiffen with glue, let that dry, and then cut my pattern pieces from that. And after the hat is formed and sewn together, I have red plumes, I have white plumes. Seems to be 4 plumes you can see on the image. And then there is also these sort of other pieces. Let's see here. These look like they would be down feathers from wings is what they're listed as. There's several red and a few white. So between that and then I was thinking about using a trim as a hat band because this should match fairly well to the hat with the red. So this sort of bridges the gap between the red and the pinkish red that I have on the inside of the coat, or in this case, loose gown. I do also have to create what looks to be a bun cover to cover the back of the head. However, the tricky part is that cover seems to have a very crescent shape to it that reminds me of a French hood, or at least a very late form of a French hood. It has billaments that go up along the top, and it has a puffed decorated edge. It is red, and it does have some slashing in it with a exposed underlining that you can see. I'm going to try to incorporate a little bit of green into our red, white, and brown color combinations that you're currently seeing, because the touches of green are a complementary color, and it should allow it to really be very visible in that case. So I'm hoping that I might be able to find a way of making that work. I do have, I think there are some buttons that are available on the Tudor Tailor website, but they are nearly a 1 inch by 1 inch. They're like 15/16 measurement square, and I'm just not sure in this scale if they're going to appear too big. I wouldn't need very many. I'd need about 12 of them. They do have them in a gold with a green jeweled inside, which actually it's like I think it's either glass or acrylic jewels. So you're dealing with a metal button that is probably made of brass or something of that nature. I checked my supply downstairs. Everything I have looks more like a plastic. So I can always make a trip to find jewelry findings at Joann's, but it's just not going to look the same or be as nearly period correct. So I'm just going to have to make a decision on those pieces. And the shape of that bun cover. Do I really want it to be like a pillbox cover on the back of one's head, or do I want it closer to the French hood design? I may have to do more research and watch patterns and see how I want to make that work. Because what I'm worried about, if I make it like a French hood, so to speak, in that shape, I'm worried that it may not sit on the head of the doll correctly either. Either way, it'll have to be pinned into the hair, but in the same right, I don't want it to combat the shape of the tall hat as compared to the hat that is going to be underneath. I want to be able to pin, one to the other very easily without there being any challenges of the hat or the cover sliding off the hair or the hat falling off of the other. So there's going to be a little bit, not much engineering, but a little bit of it in order to get the two to play nice together. try to get this to go around the corner very gently. So we've completed this side. We have to do this side yet, and the upper collar here. So we're just getting around the corner here to go up and around. I do happen to have what would be considered laundry starch. I do have some of that if I do want to slightly starch the lace. Since I don't know the exact fabric content on this lace, I'm going to use a kind of a cooler iron setting when I do, if I put any starch on it. I'm going to definitely have it as at a lower setting compared to, let's say, linen or silk uses a lower setting as well because you don't want it to scorch. I like to keep my lace this nice white color, so I don't want to burn the starch and then yellow the lace by accident, which can happen, so you do have to be careful. And that typically you would yellow it by applying too much heat. A little goes a long way, especially when it comes to laundry starch. But I also wanted to take an opportunity to talk about the channel a little bit. Projects like the Dastardly Doll Project or any other future doll projects I'll be posting on here, including any notions and fabric finds as they come along. For the most part, I haven't had my last haul of notions and sewing supplies was pretty much the last time that I had anything major other than this lace, which I ended up getting about 20 yards of it from an antique store, the same place that I got my last haul of notions and sewing supplies. With the pandemic, I've not been able to go out as much in order to supply things. Luckily, I already had a stash built up, so I've been working mainly off of my stash and only going for necessities as needed. So I really hope that everybody's been able to find a way of making the extra time indoors crafty or beneficial, despite the fact that you have to be inside. Granted, it's difficult to stay motivated, that's for sure. And if you're not in the headspace to be able to make something at this point in time, that's fine too. I may go over making a few tutor dresses eventually, but that's not going to be the main focus of the channel. It's mainly going to be spinning fiber arts, making clothing from handmade cloth, making fashion dolls and all of their additional information, and then going over about sewing supplies, sewing notions, and other projects as they come up. So I really hope that you stay tuned with me as I work on this project. We're only partway done at this point, so I'll be posting other updates as we go along. I'd like to at least make one of the two hats, or at least do a lot of research on that this weekend. I know what I need to do with the velvet hat, and as you see, I already have the supplies for it. So that's probably the one that I'll make this weekend. Of course, it's only going to be probably about yay high and, you know, about yay round. I will have to go take a measurement of Dorothy's head as well, so I know the circumference that I need to take, which is normally just above the eyebrow, is really where you want to measure where your hat would sit for most typical tall brimmed hats. Just really doing a very small, delicate whip stitch is what I'm doing on this. More or less just tacking it down. Well, I will let you get back to your weekend. I certainly hope that yours is as productive as mine. And if not, that's okay too. Stay safe, be well. And if you have any questions about future projects coming up, the Dastardly Doll Project is at least halfway through at this point. So we'll be getting, you'll be getting more updates on that recently, as far as finishing it up, last minute decorative decisions. That's basically where we're at this point. A lot of the major sewing is done and we're moving on to accessories. So, and if you like and enjoy my content, please consider subscribing. I try to upload a new video about every 2 to 3 weeks or so. Of course, that all depends on what project's being worked on currently, and other factors as they come up. So I really appreciate all the 70 subscribers that I have. You're all most welcome, and I certainly thank you for subscribing to my channel. Oh, and yes, we have a Jace over here. He's sleeping. He was actually moving a little bit earlier, making some noise, and his feet were moving back and forth, so I think somebody was having a dream. All right. Oh, getting to use my gold thimble. It's actually very comfortable to use and wear, and it doesn't go anywhere. And it's nice that the pointed end of the needle isn't wearing on one's fingers. So wear your thimbles, do some sewing or fiber arts, whatever it is that you enjoy doing. Try to get a little bit of some crafting done this weekend. And I'll see you in a little while. Bye-bye.